Welcome back to The Haunted Beard. Thank you for joining me. Today, I want to talk about the brand new Shudder original movie, Influencer. And this one tells the story of this social media influencer by the name of Madison, who is on a solo trip in Thailand. And she meets someone, another girl by the name of CW, who kind of shows her this sort of disconnected, uninhibited lifestyle. But it turns out that CW may have some ulterior motives, and their connection takes a bit of a darker turn. Influencer starts off in a way that I typically am not a fan of, in that it shows us something that happens later on in the movie, and then it jumps back to the beginning. And typically, I feel like this just kind of ruins some of the mystery and sort of spoils some of the movie. However, in this case, I think they use that technique pretty effectively, in that it's really only just one shot, and we see somebody laying on this island on the beach. And so it's this very sort of ominous and ambiguous shot that really kind of creates a little bit of mystery and intrigue, and then it jumps back to the beginning. And so there's enough restraint there to where it doesn't really spoil anything or give too much away. And so I think it sets up the movie pretty well. I think the best thing about Influencer has to do with the way that the story is structured. And I think this movie has two, maybe three pretty solid surprises and unexpected moments in it. And there's something that happens about 25 minutes into it that really sort of subverted my expectations. And in watching the trailer for this movie, I didn't watch the trailer until after I saw it. The trailer seems to give away a whole lot of the movie, but it doesn't give away as much as you would expect or think it does. And so I like that the movie has a genuine moment that really subverted my expectations and was unexpected for me. And so there's a couple of those moments throughout the film, and I think that that is one of the biggest strengths of Influencer. Another one of the highlights here for me is the performance by Cassandra Naud, who plays the character of CW, and I think she does a pretty good job in this. Her character has some mystery to it. There's more than meets the eye, and she's just kind of this intriguing, sort of mysterious character. I was pretty impressed with her performance. This is the first thing I've ever seen her in. I think she does a really solid job with this character. There's a particular scene that stands out to me that I think she does a really good job, where she kind of delivers a bit of this monologue where she's really sort of revealing her diabolical plan of what she's getting ready to do. And her monologue, she's talking about how all these influencers, they don't matter, they're not important. If something were to happen to them, nobody would care, nobody would remember them. And it reminded me a little bit of Brad Pitt's speech in Fight Club, where he says, "You're not a special and unique snowflake."
You're the same decaying organic matter as everything else.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Cassandra Naud does next. I hope she does more in the horror genre. I think she's pretty talented. The movie takes place in Thailand, so you get just throughout the whole thing just some beautiful scenery. I mean, it's just this, they mention it in the movie. It's like one of the most beautiful places on earth. I mean, it's just this luxurious, gorgeous place with, oceans and islands and beach fronts and just all sorts of good stuff. And so there's a lot of just visual imagery that's really appealing to look at in the movie. The rest of the film is fine. This is a film that, for the most part, I enjoyed. I had a good enough time with. It's well made. It's competently made. It's not something that's super memorable, but it is something that I think is worth a watch, and I had a good enough time with it. There's a couple issues I had later on in the movie with just some things. One point, there's a couple characters, they start becoming suspicious of CW, and then like a couple scenes later, that suspicion just kind of ends, and it's like they don't really do anything or question her or confront her about anything. So I thought that was kind of weird. There's another scene too that I didn't quite really understand why it was executed the way it was, where a character is drugged and then another character, they drug them to get access to their cell phone so they can delete a photo off of the phone. But then there's this like whole seduction type sequence that is built all around it and in the scene as well, that I didn't really understand why all that was needed. It didn't seem necessary. It just kind of felt weird and just out of place a little bit, I guess. And so I wasn't entirely sure why they chose to execute the scene that way. But look, this is a film that for the most part is, I think, worth a watch. I enjoyed my time. Like I said, it's competently made outside of a couple pretty good surprises and a pretty good performance. There's not a whole lot here that really sticks out as really elevated, something that I'm really going to remember. But I think it's worth a watch. It's well made. It's an enjoyable enough time. It moves along at a pretty quick pace. And I'll give it some credit too. I think the ending is pretty good as well and is pretty fun, and I enjoyed it. So I think if this is something that looks interesting to you, I think it's worth a watch. It's something that I think definitely gears more toward a thriller with a little bit of mystery than just an outright horror film. I wouldn't say it's very scary really at all. It's just kind of more a little bit suspenseful, a little bit thrilling. So those are my thoughts. Overall, I'm going to give Influencer, I'm going to go 6.5 out of 10 for Influencer. Hit me up down below. Would love to hear from you. Let me know what you thought of Influencer. Were you higher or lower than me? What did you like about it? What was your favorite part? Would love to hear from you. So that's all I got for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you like content like this, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. And I will see you next time on The Haunted Beard.